Hello everybody and welcome back to the W12 Universe. I am your host Jitch and you are watching ECW Home of the Champion of Champions, the ECW Champion Big Show. And I'm kicking things off tonight with a very big announcement as a trade has been negotiated between Raw and ECW.
Is an extreme rules match and is for the Hardcore Championship. Approaching the ring, the Hardcore Champion Chavo Guerrero.
Focusing on the here and now though, Chavo Guerrero was handed the Hardcore Championship out of respect by the Big Show, who said that he couldn't rightfully be the man to represent both the Hardcore Championship and the ECW Championship. He wanted his heart to be fully in the ECW Championship main event, so he handed this championship off to Chavo Guerrero, who unfortunately was unsuccessful last Sunday against Justin Gabriel, letting down Team ECW quite a bit, as a victory over Justin Gabriel would have been 2 points rather than 1. Odds were looking up for ECW. Unfortunately, Chavo Guerrero kind of let them down.
Representing the powerhouse from Moscow, weighing 302 pounds.
Well, one guy specifically has quite a bit to say about Chavo Guerrero and the Hardcore Championship and how he doesn't deserve it, and of course that guy is Vladimir Kozlov, the first ever Hardcore Champion and the longest reigning Hardcore Champion in history. Vladimir Kozlov has said that he should be the Hardcore Champion. He wouldn't have failed ECW at bragging rights. And Chavo Guerrero has said, well, I've already beaten your tag team partner. Why not beat you too? So Chavo Guerrero is willing to put the Hardcore Championship on the line here tonight to kick this show off. And I gotta say, this is a very dangerous move. Vladimir Kozlov is a proven former Hardcore Champion. A man who had to defend that multiple times to keep hold of that over a period of about 80 days. I really don't think that's someone you should be pushing the buttons of, but Chavo Guerrero seems confident that he can beat Vladimir Kozlov. Whether that's deserved confidence or just stupidity, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. He did pick up a victory for Mason Ryan, that is correct. But he also took a loss to Justin Gabriel. No disrespect intended to Justin Gabriel, but he's on a much lower level than that of Mason Ryan in terms of size and strength. You'd think that after beating someone like Mason Ryan, Guerrero would ride that momentum and defeat Justin Gabriel in comparison. This is of course your typical Hardcore Championship falls count anywhere, anything goes, just chaos of a match coming your way. It should be an interesting one to kick off ECW, but next match of the night I want to get to real quick, because the situation behind this match might come as a little bit of a surprise to you, but it is what it is, and I suppose it does make quite a lot of sense. And that is, of course, the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus over on Raw about a week ago now lost a one-on-one match to ECW's very own Vader, who was made quite a good friend with the Big Show. Well, the Big Show's choice of sending Vader off has paid Vader really well, as Vader has been traded to Monday Night Raw after his victory over Sheamus to help capitalize on that momentum that that Vader has picked up for himself over a victory over the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus, which will continue any rivalry between those two. However, who has come in exchange for Vader, we have not heard, but we do know that they'll be competing in a Contenders match for the ECW Championship tonight. So that's an interesting twist of things. McMahon says that he was a little bit hesitant to bring this man over, and that's why the trade hadn't been negotiated sooner. But after Big Show let ECW down by handing the championship off to Chavo Guerrero, someone who is nowhere near the strength and size of Big Show, who could have easily destroyed Justin Gabriel in McMahon's mind, McMahon has decided to punish the Big Show tonight by agreeing to that trade, which will of course in turn make Big Show not only lose his newfound friend Vader, but also that man who has been traded over is apparently a big threat to the Big Show and will be competing in a Contenders match for the ECW Championship tonight. So that is a very interesting situation going on in our main event. But the second match of the night is actually once again some backlash for Big Show, aligning himself with Vader, helping Vader get over to Raw and become a star, because one man who is very scorned and upset about this change is Arn Anderson, who has demanded a one-on-one match with the Big Show tonight to vent his frustrations, as Arn came into the business with Vader, and Vader has now moved on and left Arn behind here on ECW. And that's everything. That's everything I had to say. Now to focus on this Hardcore Championship match, which right now Chavo Guerrero has survived quite well. Be interesting to see if he's one of those flash in the pan champions, or if he's actually able to get some real length under his reign as Hardcore Champion. Of course, Vladimir Kozlov is not exactly the most ideal first opponent.
Again, this is no disqualification.
As I said before, a very lengthy reign as Hardcore Champion in the past. And of course, this issue between the Powerhouse and the likes of Chavo Guerrero and Sin Cara has led to a big-time announcement by Mr. McMahon, which is that at Survivor Series, we've got our first confirmed Survivor Series style matchup, as it will be from ECW, the Powerhouse. That's Vladimir Kozlov, Ezekiel Jackson, and Mason Ryan, for those that don't know, facing off against Chavo Guerrero, Sin Cara, and someone else. Who that someone else is, we don't really know just yet. They've got to find themselves an ally. ECW is a 14-man show. It's not exactly the most stacked roster, admittedly, but I'm sure they can find an ally. You've got people like Gold Dust, Brodus Clay, Cody Rhodes, Husky Harris. Trying to think who else. Nick Foley. All these people could probably quite gladly help fight the Powerhouse.
Another vicious shot with that foreign object.
McMahon looking to just get all of ECW's plans out of the way quick, because of course whoever wins the Contenders match will be will be coming right at the Big Show at Survivor Series with the ECW Championship on the line. That is, of course, if the Big Show makes it through Arn Anderson tonight. I don't know why Arn quite got what he got, but he is facing Big Show for the title tonight. That is next. Of course, I suppose it's just because Big Show is due a championship defense, and oh no, I believe he calls that the Iron Curtain. And just like that, wiped out, and Kozlov picks up his second Hardcore Championship. Unfortunately, I think Big Show might have placed a little too much confidence in Chavo Guerrero. I guess it's going to go down in the history books for something. Chavo Guerrero, I think, is now the shortest reigning Hardcore Champion of all time, with just 2 days under the belt. Tough break. Well, Vladimir Kozlov is the new Hardcore Champion. Will we see another new champion? As up next, Arn Anderson challenges Big Show for the ECW Championship. Alright, returning to action here tonight on ECW. What a big night this is.
This bout is for the ECW Championship. Introducing the challenger from Minneapolis, Minnesota, weighing 240 pounds, the Enforcer, Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson. What did he say before Arn? The Enforcer. Hello. Arn Anderson. So he said the late. I was like, Arn Anderson's not dead, dude. Arn Anderson coming down the ring. He's got absolutely nothing to lose in this match tonight. The only thing that he had to lose here on ECW was his partner and his best friend Vader, who is over on Raw now. He didn't really have a whole lot else going for him. Kind of just the background for Vader's matches, but unfortunately now Vader over on Raw. And he kind of has this guy to blame, admittedly, but this is our champion of champions.
And here's the ECW champion, the Big Show.
course, you haven't seen the last of the Champion of Champions. He will be carrying that around as well in future. But right now, this is about the ECW Championship, the World Championship of this ECW brand. Big Show going to put that on the line here tonight on ECW, which I think might be the first time in a while that's been defended. I mean, almost a month. I believe this would be actually be Big Show's first ECW Championship defense, as he's been a very active hardcore champion, which was one of the reasons he wanted to hand the championship off to someone he felt worthy of it. Was he needed to focus on his world championship going forward. Man, does that belt look small on his hand. That is not a small belt by any means, but it really looks it when the Big Show is the one holding it. Such a beautiful championship. The ECW title is on the line. Arn Anderson, he's got to do what it takes. He needs this win. He needs to kind of step out now and become a star on ECW, as his tag team partner, the man he was the manager of, Vader, is no longer here. This is now Arn's opportunity to try and make a statement like his tag team partner did, rather than, you know, I guess bitter jealousy. Because in a way, you know, some of that will be that.
There's the bell, and you can feel
Big Show just going straight in with those clubbing blows. Don't expect Big Show to go easy on Arn. This man has been a freaking beast all of a sudden since coming here to ECW. I mean, he never wasn't over on SmackDown and Raw. It's just that, man, he's really tearing things up here on ECW. He came over here, immediately won a 3-on-1 gauntlet, the Hardcore Championship.
500 pounds is the world's largest athlete, the Big Show.
You know, he went through 3 matches back to back, repeatedly competing to advance in the Hardcore Champion in ECW Championship situation. Went on, defeated Vader in an incredible match inside Hell in a Cell, and then he went to bragging rights, stood tall over the WWE and Welterweight Champions, and holds the Champions of Champions title now. And you think if he didn't hand over that Hardcore Championship, Big Show would be the holder of 3 titles right now. Admittedly, the Champion of Champions title is not one that is up for grabs. It's not something that you can defend or challenge for. The Big Show is simply the owner of that, and he will continue to be the owner of that for the next year. He can carry it down to the ring. He can stop carrying it whenever he wants. It's literally a trophy.
I'll tell you, when you face Big Show,
I know it's a belt, but it's a trophy.
I don't know of any other way to beat this giant.
Big Show just hit 20 victories, and I gotta say, a very well-deserved record for the Big Show to have hit. He joins a very small class of people, such as Stone Cold Steve Austin and Sheamus. Arn Anderson, I don't think he was quite expecting this, but I mean, what else could possibly have happened? Oh my god. So curious who McMahon could possibly have brought over that he feels will be a threat to this guy. No disrespect intended to anyone. It's just, I mean, this is a big guy.
Plain and simple.
A thunderous shot to the enforcer.
When you think Big Show, you can't really list a lot of people that would stand any kind of a threat to him in any championship reign.
Arn Anderson's a cagey veteran. He's not going to beat you with his speed, but if history's any indicator, he will beat you.
Arn now trying his best to get some offense in on the Big Show. He's managing to get a little bit of something here. Trying to tie him up in all kinds.
He does it one more time.
Watch out here.
Love the Big Show's sound effect.
Again, this match is for the ECW
Up to his feet.
Look out.
And oh boy. And the WMD connecting on the face of Arn Anderson in this ECW Championship match. This is usually, and is tonight, the finishing point. Just 3 minutes, that's all it took for the Big Show to wreck shop and keep that championship round his waist for another day. Or I suppose slung over his shoulder. He can't really, I mean, he has worn it around his waist, but we try not to acknowledge that. That is such a small belt in his hand. It is weird. The Big Show, still the ECW champion. It's going to take a lot to get through him we're going to find out exactly what it is that Mr. McMahon has got up his sleeve that he thinks could take Big Show down, as he's vented frustration in Big Show. He's proud he got the Champion of Champions, but if it weren't for the Big Show dropping out of the Hardcore Championship, he knows ECW would have won. I can't disagree, but I guess we'll wait and see. What is this punishment? What has he got in store as Big Show's potential opponent at Survivor Series? And will this person even succeed in winning the Contenders match? We find out the answer to all these questions right now. Well, we are back for this ECW Championship Contenders match. What a night it's been.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Approaching the ring from Pasadena, California, weighing 367 pounds,
Brodus Clay has recently declined joining the Powerhouse, which is why he's coming out here tonight. McMahon was insistent on getting another big man to join Mason Ryan, Ezekiel Jackson, and Vladimir Kozlov in his custom-built faction, but this guy wanted nothing to do with it. Brodus Clay says he can break out on his own. He doesn't need McMahon. He doesn't need the Powerhouse. He doesn't need anything. He's just going to go off his own fighting spirit, and so here tonight he's been given an opportunity. And McMahon says, alright, fine, let's see you get through this guy. And who's it going to be from Raw? Oh, no. Oh my god! Oh, this is bad.
weighing 323 pounds, Kane.
You hear this music and that's one thing, but you see this guy come out looking like that. This is the Kane of old. This is just about the last thing that I think anyone would have wanted to have seen. Mr. McMahon, I mean, he was the guy that took the mask away from Kane, and as I said several times over the last few weeks on Raw, Kane has been desperate to get back to his old ways, to get that mask back in his hands. I mean, he just recently won a Contenders match last night on Raw over Randy Orton for the European Championship. I guess that's out the window. A trade was negotiated literally just this morning. Oh my god. And the old Kane. McMahon obviously knew he had that secret weapon up his sleeve for whenever he needed it. All he had to do was give him back the mask. And you're looking at a completely different animal. Of course, don't underestimate Brodus Clay though. I mean, the guy literally measures up to Kane, no problem. But McMahon coming down to ringside with Kane.
Oh, the punch connects.
This is
Brodus
nuts. Right now, Brodus Clay really trying to put the fight in. I said that before. He's no one to be taken lightly. Either one of these two would be a great opponent for the Big Show. I think definitely down the line, Brodus Clay will be a contender for the ECW Championship.
He almost took his head off with that lariat.
But it's like freaky to see this version of Kane back in the ring. I think just 2 nights ago he was representing Raw as a member of Team Raw. And he was the man that eliminated Mark Henry. Arguably, Jack Swagger never would have won that match for Team Raw if it weren't for the fact that Kane got the big man Mark Henry out.
Big move coming. Kane brings a new meaning to the phrase manhandling.
What a clothesline by Kane. He used all his weight on that leg drop. Oh man, Kane is in a bad mood tonight.
Some serious trouble for Brodus Clay.
Brodus Clay.
McMahon looking so proud at ringside. He knew what he was doing when he got that mask off of Kane. He knew all along. Eventually Kane would come running back. Eventually Kane would want that mask back, and he'd be willing to do anything, including give away a championship opportunity, stepping away from a brand, betraying his own friend. That's where it all started, you know. McMahon was literally the reason that I think Kane and Punk ended up separating.
He's in a bad spot here.
He just knew that eventually Kane would want it back.
Both men appear to be casualties as a result of that superplex. Brodus Clay.
Oh man, cutting off circulation to the brain. Whoa!
And he fights his way out. How do you deal with the strength of Kane? Big boot connects.
This is honestly not Brodus Clay's night right now, and I don't know if it's ever going to be.
King, what can we expect from Brodus Clay now? The big man's down.
What a punch!
I don't think so.
Well, either one of these two are going to be the one that faces off against the Big Show for the ECW Championship in 4 weeks' time at Survivor Series when we hit our 1 year anniversary of this series. Took me a lot longer than a year to reach it though, because I started on April 1st and we're now on the 4th of July.
And momentum turns 180 degrees again.
Oh my, that is quite the difference. You can clearly see how well I've not kept up with this series.
Got caught there.
Considering there's only 48 weeks in the calendar in this game too, and I do actually skip the other 4 that are absent. Wow, I've done a really bad job at keeping up with this.
Bruises, and you know they're there.
What fiendish
Oh boy.
things are going through that
Kane perhaps
demented
planning to
mind
end
now.
this, but Brodus Clay's very quick to his feet. Can be quite agile for a big man.
He's still not through.
Brodus with a heavy shot. A perfectly executed counter game displayed there.
You keep seeing McMahon, he keeps getting up on that apron. You know, it's going to look real silly if he's gone and made this trade, gotten rid of ECW's second biggest star invader, and gotten all this... Oh, no. Gotten all these expectations out of Kane, and then Kane lets him down. Yeah, I can see why McMahon's on edge.
Trying to put him away.
I don't think that interference was necessarily
He's looking at it.
necessary. Brodus Clay about to experience... Oh,
Out of nowhere.
never mind. Boy, you just can't reverse finishes in this game. It's just not that possible. AI can do it every single time you attempt one, but heaven forbid you do it. There's like never a reversal prompt. I know they fixed that, but it's one of the reasons I've just not been like loving 12. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's been a great series, but I'm constantly counting down the weeks left of this game to 13, because 13 was great. I mean, I know I said that about 12 when I was playing 11, but 13 was great. They just keep getting better, frankly. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but they do. They just keep getting better. Because 13's got way better gameplay. 14 just has a lot. 14 is incredible for the amount of stuff it's got. What a great way to finish her last gen. 15, although it loses a hell of a lot in terms of like rosters and stuff, the gameplay is significantly better for realistic match experiences. 16 then just has an absolutely loaded roster, and then it kind of just carries on that way. It's like, you know, the gameplay is good and the rosters are just packed. Eventually, after 17, I admittedly start to not know so very many people because I took many years away from WWE. As much as I like people like Aleister Black, I don't know fuck all about him. I just think he's cool. You know, a lot of the people that everyone's favorites are at the moment, I just don't get the hype. You know, Adam Cole and all that. I don't watch the shows, and from a character and personality standpoint, they seem to be very lacking. They just seem to be great in the ring, which there's nothing wrong with. But I do like my characters. You know, The Fiend really got me interested again for a while. And then Goldberg. But we don't talk about that. Snapmare takedown. Big boot to the face by Kane. Ripping Brodus Clay off the mat. Please don't reverse it again. As we get a big chokeslam. I don't mind the reversal of the first chokeslam attempt though, because it puts Brodus over a bit, which you know I like Brodus if you watched my original 13, 14 universes. I don't actually dislike Brodus. So I don't mind that at all. But there you go, Kane, given his mask back, what an impression he has made on ECW. And No, that doesn't make sense. Kane's a heel. Sorry, guys, I don't agree with that. I cut them off if I don't agree with it, that's how you know. But yeah, Kane, defiant victory here tonight. Incredible performance by Brodus nonetheless, though. And I think we now know that Big Show versus Kane for the ECW Championship in 4 weeks at Survivor Series is gonna be a big one.